So you're thinking about moving to Kirkland, Washington, but you don't know anything about it? Well, this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about moving to Kirkland, Washington. Hey everybody, this is Tova Williamson, and on this channel we shoot tons of videos of what it's like to live in the Seattle metro area. So if those are videos that you want to see more of, go ahead and click that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified every time we have new videos. We honestly get reach outs every day from people moving to the area, and we love hearing from you guys. We want to help when you're relocating to Seattle. So if you're moving anywhere in the Seattle metro area, give us a call, text, email, however you want to get a hold of us, because we got your back when you're moving to Seattle. So Kirkland, Washington, it's become a very, very popular place to live. It's just to the northeast of downtown Seattle, just sits north of Bellevue. Let me pull up a map and I can show you exactly where it's located. So it's right here in this area. So we've got Seattle over here. Downtown Seattle is a little further down. And then we got Bellevue right here. So it sits along Lake Washington, and 405 just cuts right through it. So that's where it's located, just to the west of Redmond. One fun fact about Kirkland, Washington is it's the only city on the east side with a downtown area on the water. So Bellevue's downtown is more inland, Redmond is further up. So it really gives Kirkland a cool kind of beachy vibe in some areas because it is right on the waterfront, and there's tons of fun restaurants and shops along the waterfront. So it's a really fun place to go to, take the family, you know, get some lunch, look at the views. It's really awesome. One thing to be warned about when you're going to downtown Kirkland is the parking is just notoriously terrible there. It can be like so hard to find parking. You drive around for like 20 minutes before you can find something. So just keep that in mind, calculate into your like daily plan of trying to find parking. You can even just park further out and say, I'm gonna just have a nice like healthy walk into downtown and park a little further out. So that's just something to remember if you're going to downtown Kirkland, but it's a really fun little place with a lot of shops, restaurants, not necessarily like a nightlife at all. It's kind of more mellow, definitely geared more around family. If you're looking for the nightlife, Bellevue, Seattle is probably going to be like your better bet. But Kirkland does, I mean, there's plenty to do in Kirkland. Another area that also has a waterfront is Juanita. That is just to the north of the downtown Kirkland area. Juanita is a neighborhood within Kirkland. So Juanita is kind of like downtown Kirkland, but smaller scale. So you still have fun little restaurants, shops, things like that, but it's just a lot smaller. Sometimes parking can be a little bit easier there. So that could be an option too. If you're wanting to get that like lakefront vibe, then Juanita is just a little bit smaller scale, a little more quaint than the downtown Kirkland area. But Kirkland's just been a really popular place the last few years. It's really gotten a lot of people wanting to move there. I mean, it's always been pretty popular, but like 2021, it has just blown up. It's gotten like insane, like tons of people want to live there. Like I said before, definitely more of a suburban vibe, family feel, not a big nightlife. Mostly you're going to find single family homes in Kirkland. There's some condos kind of scattered around in apartment buildings, and there are more townhouses being built. It is starting, you know, it's generally a little more spread out than like downtown Seattle, say, or neighborhoods in Seattle that are very dense. Kirkland, you're going to get a larger lot size out there. But with more people moving in there, we just have a shortage of housing in our area in general. So developers are building more new construction kind of on the outskirts of Kirkland to the east, like bordering Redmond. It's a little more open out there. So you're going to see some new construction out there. Single family homes on new construction tend to have smaller lots though. So just keep that in mind. If you're wanting new construction, but a big yard, that's going to be kind of hard to find. And there's also more townhouses coming. So there's just been a lot more townhouses in the city area. So density is something that is coming to Kirkland, I think. Like there's a lot of neighborhoody spread out suburban feel, but the density is going to start to come just because there's not enough houses and they need to start building more. One thing too to note about Kirkland is since it's like the whole city is along the waterfront, you can just find some really awesome water views. Going to the parks, you'll find the views, but you can find some homes with really awesome views. Those homes tend to be quite a bit more expensive than homes inland without the views. But if you're looking for views, Kirkland can be a really good spot to find a view in. Kirkland also has some pretty decent shopping. It's not like Bellevue and Bellevue Square where you've got like this crazy like high-end shopping, but it's got everything you need. It's got the grocery stores, it's got shops, it's got, you know, Target and all that stuff that you're going to want, Costco. There is a relatively new shopping center that has come to the area. It's called Totem Lake. It's like this whole outdoor shopping area. Let me pull it up on the map. I can show you where it is. So Totem Lake is right here. Just it borders 405. But there's a ton of stuff there. Like there's a Whole Foods, there's a Trader Joe's, Nordstrom Rack. You got a bunch of hotels. They're building like these little condo homes there. That area has kind of gotten a lot more popular. And then because of that, the homes and neighborhoods around there have just increased in value because it's become a somewhat desirable place to be close to. Kirkland's going to have everything you need. You're not usually going to have to go to another city to get things that you need besides, you know, if you want to go to like sporting events or museums or things like that, you can go into Seattle, Bellevue pretty easily, but on the day-to-day, like Kirkland's gonna have all that you need. Kirkland also along the east side, it does border a lot of wineries, and there are a good amount of wineries in Kirkland. And then it borders Woodinville to the east, which Woodinville is like known for its wineries. The Chateau Ste. Michelle winery is kind of like the biggest, most popular one in the area. So you're pretty close to that. So if like wine is your thing and like going to the vineyards and wine tasting and stuff like that, like you're really close to that. You can just drive on over to Woodinville and get that scene, which is really fun. It's fun to take people when they're visiting out of town to go do the wineries too. Let's talk about schools. So Kirkland has really good schools. It is in the Lake Washington School District. So on niche.com, the Lake Washington School District is rated an A+. So if you're looking for really good schools and that's something that's important to you for your family, Kirkland's a great place. The whole east side honestly is really good in schools, but Kirkland has like awesome schools. So you should be covered in that area. One thing to talk about is the home prices and the cost of living. So Kirkland has gotten more expensive for home prices, especially in 2021. It's just been blowing up over there. The day-to-day things, electricity, internet, all of that's going to be pretty comparable to other cities in the area. It's not like it's amazingly cheaper to get electricity in Kirkland versus Bellevue. That's all going to be pretty common and similar, but the house prices are pretty expensive there. So median sales price for single family homes in April of 2021 was at 1.395. So it's gone up. I think that's like 35%. It increased year over year from last year in April. So it's been a crazy increase. I mean, last April was right when COVID was hitting. And so sales did plummet anyways. So that number might seem kind of inflated as far as the increase, but prices are still going up. Like people just want to live in Kirkland. And so the prices are reflecting that. Condos, on the other hand, can be a lot cheaper. Median sales price for condos was $445,000 for the month of April. So definitely you get more bang for your buck for condos, but you're not going to have the yard and things like that. So if you're okay with more of like urban style living, then a condo could be a good choice and you can get into Kirkland that way. The median price being 1.395, there's definitely houses that are less than that. You're not going to be spending that much necessarily, but a good portion of the homes are over $1 million, or even if they're listed below $1 million, they get bid up above $1 million. So that's just something to keep in mind too. The style of homes that we see the most in Kirkland, there's a lot of homes like the older suburban neighborhoods built in like the 60s and 70s and 80s. So you have a lot of these single story ramblers. Those definitely are not going to cost $1 million. Some do get bid up if they're like fixed up really nice, but you can find things for less than $1 million. They also have a lot of split levels in Kirkland. So you've got like the entrance on the main, you go upstairs, you've got like your bedrooms, kitchen, dining, living room, and then downstairs you have a basement, little rec room area, and maybe another bedroom down there. So split levels are super common in Kirkland, and those are getting snatched up like crazy. Some of them are still original, have like the original 1970s carpet and stuff. So those obviously are not going to go for as much as ones that are fixed up, but we're seeing people that are fixing them up, getting them like really updated into the modern amenities, and those are selling really fast. So just to give you an idea of some of the styles of homes that you can see in Kirkland, Kirkland, there's going to be, you know, the older homes, the ramblers, the split levels. There is a lot of newer construction too in Kirkland. And a lot of the new construction is going to be on the higher end of the price range because it's new construction and a lot of people like it. So just something to keep in mind if you're looking for homes in Kirkland. Another thing to think about is traffic. So if you are driving into Seattle from Kirkland, it can be a pretty rough commute. You're going to take 520 bridge. You could take I-90, but you're going to have to like drive all the way south to Bellevue and then over. So 520 is probably going to be your best bet to get to Seattle. One thing to note about 520, it is a toll bridge. So you get tolled both ways going back and forth. The toll varies on the time of day. So during rush hour, it costs more. If it's like late at night, it's not as expensive, but there is a good to-go pass that you can buy. And it's a little sticker that you stick in your window. That gives you a discounted rate. So it's almost like 50% cheaper if you have the good to go pass. So if you're going to be commuting like to and from Seattle from Kirkland, I definitely recommend getting that good to go pass because that will save you a lot of money over time. Another thing too is 405 runs north and south from Kirkland. So depending on where you are, if you're like in the southern part of Kirkland, you have to get on 405 up to 520. 405 is notoriously bad for traffic also. People, you know, it's like the only freeway that goes north and south, so it just gets super packed during rush hour. But 405 also has an express toll lane that you can drive in. Same thing, you pay a fee to use it. Good to go pass will get you a cheaper rate. It can vary from like couple bucks up to $10, I think is the most during rush hour. So there are some options that can speed up that commute along 405, but it just depends if the money versus the time is more important to you. If you're willing to spend that money to save 10 minutes, you know, it's a couple bucks. Sometimes it's worth it. I mean, I hate sitting in traffic, so I'd rather pay a couple bucks and get to where I'm going a little bit faster. So totally up to you, but that's just what the main thing in Kirkland, if you're driving to Seattle, that commute, I mean, can take like 30, 45 minutes, maybe more if there's an accident. So just kind of prepare for that. If you're working in Bellevue or Redmond, like in the Microsoft area, Kirkland's like an awesome spot to live because it's really close to Kirkland. You can just pop on, or I'm sorry, really close to Redmond, pop on over. You don't even have to get on a freeway. Surface streets, it might be a little slower, but you might not have to deal with the traffic as much. Same with Bellevue. I mean, it's pretty close to Bellevue too. So if you're working on the east side and living on the east side, like life is good. You don't have to deal with as much traffic. But if you're going over to Seattle, it can get a little bit rough driving over there for sure. One other thing to note is you're going to usually need a car in Kirkland. It's not the most walkable area because it is more of a suburban feel. There is some public transportation. It's not the best. So you're mostly going to have a car to get around. It's pretty car centric and not the most pedestrian friendly place. Like there's a lot of sidewalks there, but sometimes people just don't really pay attention to pedestrians in those areas. The last thing we're going to talk about in Kirkland are the parks. So there's a bunch of fun parks in Kirkland. They're all around. I mean, this area in general, like the general Seattle metro area, there's a lot of green space. People really like parks and getting outdoors. So there's just a lot of them throughout. Bridal Trails State Park sits like in the southern part of Kirkland, and that's a really big park. It's got a bunch of trails and stuff, and it's a really awesome park. It's a state park, so people like to go there. One thing to note, if you're going into any state park in Washington, you're going to have a good to go pass, or not, I'm sorry, not a good to go pass, a discovery pass. There's like too many passes to have in this state. So discovery pass, and that will get you into any state park in the state. So it's something like if you're renewing your registration, you can buy that discovery pass with your registration and just include it and just like renew it every year. Like if you're going to be going to the parks a lot, that can be something that's worth doing for you. It's $30 for a year. Otherwise it's $10 per day that you go. So, I mean, if you're going to the park more than 3 times a year, it's definitely worth it to just pay for the annual pass versus the daily pass. So there you have it. That's Kirkland in a nutshell. Hopefully that was helpful to you. Moving to Seattle can be tough, especially coming to a new area that you don't know. So we want to help you find the perfect spot for you, but we can't do it unless you give us a call. So reach out to us, call, email, text, whatever you want to do. We got your back when you're moving to Seattle, Washington.